What's up, y'all? It's Myles the Millennial, and this is Let's Talk Like Men, the podcast where we give real advice about real conversations to real men everywhere.
Yes, sir.
And we're happy to be back today. This is, I want to say, part two of our masculine leadership series. In part one, we went through the characteristics of a man that leads.
Yeah.
And today we're going to have an even more tactical and tangible conversation about how to become a man that leads.
Necessary conversation.
Yes, sir. So I'm really excited about this one, Rex, man. And we're going to give the guys today some really good advice. We're going to speak to you directly about the things that we've experienced, that we've gone through, or that we've observed that are really how you become that man, right? It's cool to know what they look like, but you need actual pathways. You need a real journey and roadmap on how you get there. And that's what we're going to give you in today's episode. So make sure you stay tuned to the end because we got some powerful gems we're going to give you.
Yes, sir.
Rex, how have you been doing?
Man, I've been blessed, bro. It's been a busy week. But I just completed the 29-day self-discovery journaling challenge. Sir. Went really well. I had 17 participants.
Wow.
And last night I spent a few hours creating a KDP account for Amazon. So it's going live on Amazon within the next 2 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
Sir. So that's kind of how things been going on my end. How you feeling, man?
Man, I've been doing good, bro. Very similar to you. Finally got my redesigned book cover. Set up on TikTok shop, reaching out to some different affiliates. So excited to see how that's gonna go and how it's gonna take off for me, man. Things are just moving really well. The year is moving really fast.
Definitely.
But I'm excited for what's to come.
Yes, sir. I'm excited for you too. And it's gonna touch everybody it's supposed to touch for
It
sure.
It is. Our brands are powerful and they're impactful.
Yes,
but
sir.
Without further ado, let's talk like men.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Rex, do you want to take the hot topic?
Yeah. So the hot topic for today is, should you cohabitate before marriage? What's your thoughts on that, Myles?
Yeah, so you living with somebody before you marry them. Personally, first off, studies show that living with someone before you marry them actually increases your chances of having a divorce. Something that a lot of people don't recognize. You would think that, okay, I live with this person, we get more comfortable with each other. It should make marriage a little bit easier when we move in together. But I think that what happens is when you live with somebody, before you have the commitment of a ring and a legal document signing you guys together, you're trying to act like one when you really aren't yet.
100%.
You haven't taken that covenant before God. You have not made that true sacrifice of yourself for that other person. Yeah. But you're trying to sign leases together. Yeah. You're paying bills together. You're spending every waking moment together. But you don't have that covenant covering you.
Right.
And I think what ends up happening is there's a confusion that goes on between the two partners about where are the boundaries that we're supposed to have. Yeah. Am I really in this state of selflessness where I can sacrifice all the things that it takes when you live with somebody to make them happy and also make sure that I'm still happy? So I don't personally agree with it. What are your thoughts?
Man, it's crazy. Before I say my thoughts, one thing that came to mind is covenant versus contract. Right? You're creating contract with these people. Contract saying, as long as you don't piss me off enough, we're good to go.
We're good.
As long as you don't go and disrespect me, we're good to go. As long as you're not a messy person and them dishes don't pile up, we're good to go. But when you're in a covenant with somebody, it's a different type of, it's unbreakable. Right? So, at first, prior to the relationship that I'm currently in, my thought was you need to live with your partner. You need to test it out. Yep. Just like you go to the car lot, you don't just pick a car without driving it, right? That was my thought process because it's like, you need to see how they live. You need to see how they function. You need to see how they behave. But, now I'm in a relationship with a Nigerian woman, right? A very traditional woman. They, they don't believe
That's a no-go.
You feel me? They don't believe in moving out until marriage, right? So I guess it's really about intentionality, right? Anytime she comes over, I can watch and see how she maneuvers. Yeah. When she's at her home and I get a chance to go to her place, I can see how she keeps her space. Right. So that's one thing. I can see if she cooks or she cleans. I can see how she behaves when she's upset or when she's pissed off or when she needs space. Right. Because I'm intentional about those things.
Yeah.
So should you move in with each other before cohabitation? I would say no, because I think for men, we get too comfortable. If I have everything that I need from you that comes within a covenant, what's going to make me rush?
Yeah.
What's going to make me speed up that process? What's going to make me finally commit to you? Because growing up, I grew up around a lot of boyfriend and girlfriends.
Yeah.
Lifetime boyfriend and girlfriends.
Lifetime, yeah.
You're talking about couples that's been together 10 to 15 years and there's no ring present.
Yeah.
But they've been playing these roles. They've been having these kids. They've been going back and forth. But at any given time, anybody can leave because there's no covenant
Yeah.
attached to it. So, should you? Absolutely not. Be intentional about what you want. Be intentional about the relationship that you have. If you don't have any intentions on marrying that woman and she wants to be married, go ahead,
Yeah.
let that go.
Man, that's fair. And I think to the first time me and my girl, we had to stay together for a little period of time.
Okay.
I had just bought the property in Nashville and she had just graduated from college. And it was going to be about 3 months she needed to apartment search, figure out where she needed to go, get her money right, all that. And I was like, all right, cool, you can stay with me.
Right.
Man, I was not prepared for that. We were not prepared for that. When I tell you the arguments we were getting
Yep.
into over the smallest things,
Yep.
why do you put the toilet paper roll on this way? It's
Yeah.
supposed to go the other way. You left the toilet seat up. Or, man, you cooking and everything, you need to clean the dishes after you done, or all these different things. I'm annoyed because when I lay down at bed at night and I'm ready to go to bed, as soon as I hit the bed, hey, can you go get me a
Yeah.
water? What do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm tired too. And I was in a selfish place. She was in a selfish place. And it almost tore us apart.
Yeah.
Like at the end of those 3 months, when she was moving to her apartment, we both were like, we are so happy
Yeah.
that we're getting our own space back because we weren't as mature and as prepared for that as we thought we were.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward a year and a half later, we had to do the same thing when she was leaving her apartment before she was going into her next one. So she stayed with me for a couple months, completely different time period, right? The difference is I don't sign a lease with her.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation. I'm not signing a lease with you. I'm not going to get on any bills with you. I'm going to pay these bills. I'm going to take care of what I need to. You want to feel like you're contributing, and so you want to pay the electric or whatever, that's fine. But we're going to be responsible for our different things. We're not going to sit here and sign on to something together and say, this is our home, this
Yeah.
is our space, before we've even said that this is our covenant.
100%.
We're going to go about this in a process that says boyfriend and girlfriend goes to this level, and
Yeah.
it comes with this level of commitment,
Yeah.
contractualness, covenant, right? When we make the step and I go down on one knee and say you're my fiance, I feel like if you want to figure that out,
Yeah.
maybe that's the time period because you've made the commitment at that point to say, I'm going to be with you long term. You are the person I'm going to be with for life. I'm willing to make the sacrifice to put you here. I'm getting down on one knee and,
Yeah.
and saying it's you over everything and everybody.
100%.
Now we can get us an apartment for a year till we get married, move into a house. Maybe that's when you try it out. But to your point, you can figure out everything you need to know about a woman and about your partner by those time periods that you spend around each other. You don't have to live with them to pick up on those things.
Right.
It's just when you live with them, they become even more apparent.
100%. And you have to have in your mind that no matter what happens, I'm willing to ride or die for this person.
Come on, man.
I'm willing to ride it out for this person because you're talking about two individuals from two different backgrounds with different behaviors, with different perspectives, with different beliefs, and you're trying to combine them into one.
Exactly.
There's going to be issues.
Exactly.
But as long as communication is there, as long as trust is there, as long as grace is there, and as long as God is in it, you can make it through anything. But once again, without being intentional, without having that next step, you can create a lot of difficulty, especially if you're not a patient person.
For sure. And we were not that first time. So I advise y'all, do not do it, especially as young adults. I don't think you're as mature as you think you are.
Right.
I think we want to do all these adult things when we're still trying to figure out even who we are.
100%.
And so don't put you guys in that position because it can really ruin a good thing before it had the chance to succeed.
100%. Last thing I'll say to that, if you're thinking about cohabitating, if you're thinking about being with this person, ask them, do you have plans to be married? Because if they don't,
yeah, what are you doing?
Right? You
Yeah.
know for a fact you're going to be in a lifetime relationship, a lifetime boyfriend and girlfriend situationship. So just be more intentional about that.
That's real. All right. Well, moving on from our hot topic, let's go into our main topic of the day, which
Yes,
is
sir.
how to become a man who is a leader.
Yes, sir.
Right? We've talked about cohabitating before marriage and all these boundaries and the different things that you need to think about. A lot of that comes with being a man that has some leadership qualities so you can decipher these situations properly
Right.
and not walk into a circumstance that's going to, doom you from the beginning.
Right.
So, Rex, let's break down for the people listening. What are or how does a man become a person who's a leader? What are the tangible things they need to do? What is your first point?
First point, man, is to focus on identifying your purpose. right? Because a man that has purpose is a man that has vision. A man that has purpose is a man that has drive. He knows what he's working towards. He's not complacent because he knows there's work to be done, right? And Myron Golden came up with this principle called the be, do, have principle,
Yeah, yeah,
right? He said, when you are being who you're supposed to be, you're able to do what you're supposed to do, and you're able to have what you're supposed to have.
yeah.
But if you're not being who you're supposed to be, you're not going to be doing what you're supposed to do, and you won't have what you're supposed to have,
Mm,
right? So maybe that may be a marriage, maybe that may be the right job, maybe that may be to become a millionaire,
yeah,
right? To have kids. If you're not in the right position, you can never have the right outcome, right? So the very first thing for me is identifying your purpose in order to be, do, and have.
that's real, man. He said we are not human doings.
Yeah.
We're not human havings. We are human
Yes,
beings.
sir.
Who you be, right? Um, and to his point, a lot of people do it the opposite way in their journey as a man. A lot of men only think about what they want to have,
Right,
right? They only think about what they want to have, and they'll go do everything to have it,
right.
but it doesn't fall in line with who they're supposed to be. And
100%.
therefore you're gonna get it all, and it's not gonna be what you think it is. It's gonna
100%.
destroy you. And so to your point, man, you really do need to figure out what's your purpose on this earth. What is it that you bring to the table? And that can change throughout time, right?
100%.
You know, there may be a period of your time where your purpose is to be a, you know, a influencer to other people,
Yep.
right? To impact other people's minds. And it has nothing necessarily to do with your internal family. There may be a time when you become a father, and now your main purpose is taking care of your wife and kids.
100%.
Your purpose can change. Be willing to understand that, but understand that it's who you are being
Yep.
that determines what you will do
Yep.
and what you will have.
And man, that's amazing. And let me add to that. So some may ask, how do you identify your purpose?
Yeah.
Right? Work,
Hmm.
right? Experience life.
Yeah.
Don't turn no opportunities down. You never know what you like if you don't never put yourself out there, right? I felt like for a very long time my purpose was Rex Fit,
Yeah.
right? To be a personal trainer. I found enjoyment, I found passion, I found love by helping people become the best versions of themselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, right? Through training. And then God sat me down and I went through a healing period and I journaled and I wrote and I reflected and I went to therapy. And I thought to myself, man, throughout this process, I did a lot for myself. I know for a fact I can help other people do this as well. So I decided to go to school for it.
Yeah.
So when I decided to go to school, become a therapist, everything almost like came around full circle.
Hmm.
Now it doesn't feel like I have a job. It doesn't feel like I'm working because all I get to do on a day-to-day basis is sit in front of people, have conversations just like this, and help people get to where they want to go. So I didn't understand my purpose until I just started walking.
That's
I had
real.
to start working, and I had to start taking on different opportunities to see what fits me, what works for me, and what doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Because you never know what doesn't work for you unless you put yourself out there and do it.
Yeah. The reality is you learn just as much from the things that you don't like as you do from the things you do like.
Oh,
And
100%.
you can't neglect those. Those are all showing you that, hey, this isn't in alignment with who you are, who you're supposed to be.
Yep.
Move away from this area. Let's try something new. A lot of times we confine ourselves and we think that we have to operate within these lines. And because of that, we never really get close enough. We might be on the other side
Yep.
of where our purpose is,
Yep.
but because we weren't willing to take that step, we'll never know.
100%. Man, what you got for your point?
So my point number one is stop trying to lead and start trying to serve.
I like that.
You see, that comes from a lot of ego, a lot of ignorance, right? You just don't know. And so you think that in order for me to lead, I got to call myself a leader.
Yeah.
I got to claim I'm a leader. I got to tell people I'm a leader. I got to try to be a leader. You don't try those things.
Nope.
A leader is a servant first.
Yeah.
He is a servant leader, literally.
Yeah.
You look at Jesus in the Bible. What was his role throughout the course of every single parable told about him?
Sorry.
He was serving people. He was doing right by others before he was doing right by himself.
100%.
If he just wanted to do right by himself, he could have protected himself from that crucifixion at any point in time. But he was the servant for us to make sure that we could have that covenant with God,
100%.
that connection with him. That's the greatest form of leadership. It's the same thing in real life when we're dealing with the things that we go through. How are you serving other people? When you walk around telling people you're a leader, I can tell you you aren't.
Right.
That is the first giveaway.
100%.
Oh, I'm the leader of this. I'm the leader of that. Man, you already are doing too much posturing for other people.
Yeah.
Let that go and just say, I'm here to work. I'm here to serve. I am here to be the lowest person in the room, do whatever needs to be done. I will put in the extra hours. I will show up early. I will leave late. And that will be how people view you. You will naturally take the position of a leader
Right.
in other people's eyes because you're doing everything that others won't.
That's good. So I have a question for you. Can you give them an example of a time that you had to serve, or a period of time you had to serve in order to get to where you are now?
Yeah. So leading my chapter in college, man, right? I was the pole mark. So I had the title.
Right.
I was, for people that don't know, pole mark is very similar to the president of the chapter. But at the time, the chapter only had 2 other members, and I had to be really with me and my boy Kieran. We had to spend the most of the time together trying to figure out how we were going to do this with
Right.
just a couple of guys.
Mm-hmm.
And what we realized is the only thing that's going to really influence how we want to be seen out on campus, the impact that we want to make, is the work we're going to put in.
100%.
And so when it took an event that may need 5, 10 people to set up, well, we were in there early doing it by ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And we never complained about that. We understood what we signed up for. But I had to put myself in a period of time where it was like, man, I'm going to serve everybody.
Yeah.
When we would walk throughout that campus, people would look at us as leaders, but it wasn't because of the suits we put on. It was because of the service we did
100%.
for everybody else first.
That's good. I like that. I like that. You need to serve first in order to lead.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
That's
So
good.
what's your point number 2?
Man, my point number 2 is put yourself around leaders and winners. Right? What I mean by that is when you think about leading, you think about winning. There's people that come to mind.
Yeah.
Right. When it comes to podcasts, I think about David Shands. I think about Eric Thomas.
Yeah.
Or I think about CJ. I think about a lot of different podcasts that comes up. When it comes to millionaires, I think about Grant Cardone. Right. When it comes to fatherhood, I got a couple fathers that come to mind. So you want to figure out the type of person that you want to be, and then put yourself around the people that's already doing the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Right. That's already being the person that you want to be. Because one of the best ways to become a leader is to surround yourself by leaders and to also imitate their type of
Exactly.
leadership until you figure out your own.
Yeah.
Right. Whether that may be getting you a mentor, whether that may be a big brother that's doing great things. That may be you're a college student and you see a brother like yourself that's in a fraternity, and that's the pole market fraternity, and you kind of want to, you're interested in fraternity or just interested in the way he leads. Put yourself around him. Ask him some questions. Get around the right people, and ask the right question. That's what I would say.
Man, you can't be what you can't see.
That's good.
Right. And so if you are trying to become a better leader in life, but you don't know where to start, well, start with the people that you consider a leader.
100%.
And there are people in every community. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you come from impoverished neighborhoods, it might be the people at that church, that pastor of that church, that deacon of that church.
Yep.
It might be the old man up the street who you always see taking care of his family.
Yep.
There are leaders in every aspect of life that we walk past every single day. But when you see them, like you said, surround yourself around them.
Yeah.
Really take the time to say, what can I learn from this person? Serve with them, however you need to serve. And you will naturally, because of the law of attraction, you will pick up on those characteristics.
Yeah.
Vision boards are important for that, right?
That's good. Yeah.
All these things align with the fact that you got to be in the presence of what you want if you really are to become it.
100%. And that's really good. And I can remember, like, back in 2021 is when I really started listening to podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And I picked up on the Secret to Success podcast by Eric Thomas.
Yep.
And for episodes after episodes, Eric Thomas talked about how he served his wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, how he would iron her clothes before she went to work, how he would scrub the floors with a toothbrush, you know what I'm saying? Or how he would learn how to do laundry so she can take a load off her back, right? He talked about how he served his wife. He talked about how he did all these things and made all these sacrifices because he wanted her to feel like, you know, he was the man.
Yeah.
And he said, it doesn't matter to me if the world tells me I'm the man, if Instagram tells me I'm the man, if all my listeners tell me I'm the man. He said, when my wife tells me I'm the man, that's when it really matters the most.
Yeah.
So it's that leadership, it's that sacrifice, it's that serving your partner, and then also the fact that I was listening to him for that long period of time, it put me in the right mind state to say, you know what? How can I find new ways to do this for my partner?
That's real.
So That's what I got for you, man. What you got for number 2?
All right. So my point number 2, always look for solutions when problems arise.
I like that. Talk to me about it.
All right. So things are going to happen in life all the time as a man. You're going to run into problems every single day. People are going to come to you with problems every single day. See, leaders have a certain type of mindset, and that is when they're hearing people, whether the person is complaining, expressing their grievances, coming to them about an issue, leaders are constantly thinking, what is the solution?
Yep.
What is the best next step or course of action we can take here that is going to get us either out of this situation, learn from this situation, or put us in a better platform, a better place?
Yep.
And so I think that when you're trying to become a leader, that is something you need to have in the back of your mind. You can't deal with all the complaining.
Right.
People are going to come to you with complaints all the time. You're going to want to complain yourself. In the midst of all that, you need to ask yourself, well, what am I going to do about it? That's something that a lot of people are scared to do, man. I see people all day complain about social issues, political issues, financial issues, spiritual issues, everything. But nobody is sitting there saying, but what am I going to do about it? How do you say all these issues, then you complain about the way that they're dealt with, but you don't have the courage or the mindset to say, I'm going to step up to the plate and do something about it. You're not a leader. You're not even a follower at that point. You're just somebody that's existing.
Okay.
And a leader cannot fall in line with either two of those. You can't be somebody that's just existing. You have to have an active impact on problems. And you do that by trying to be solution oriented.
Okay. So what would you say to those, especially on a relational context, what would you say to those people that say, you know what, I try to be solution oriented with my partner, but she doesn't seem to want my solutions?
You have to understand that solutions are not just a tangible thing. And it's not just what you think is the right thing to do, right? Sometimes being solution oriented as a leader, you're in a relationship and you're trying to tell your girl, well, why don't you just do it this way? Why don't you just do it that way? And it's not getting through to her. Well, maybe the solution is the way you're speaking. Maybe the way that you're coming off is too direct. And you need to say, maybe the solution right now is for me to listen to her.
Right.
She's not looking for advice. Maybe that's the solution to the issue. Maybe the solution is I need to say this in a softer way. Maybe the solution is we need some time for her to just relax, collect her thoughts. And it's okay if you don't have the answer. But what you cannot do is not try. That's the thing that sets you apart. Being solution oriented doesn't mean you know the solution. It means you're not afraid to try different solutions until you find the one that works. Thomas Edison did 10,000 inventions that failed before he figured out how to properly do the light bulb. So we can't sit here and be so confined and saying, well, the first time I did it, it didn't work, or the 10th time I did it, it didn't work. That is what you sign up for in a
100%.
relationship. And it's also very important as a man, if you're leading, and for you to be with a partner when you're choosing that woman, that you choose somebody who's receptive, right?
Of your leadership.
Exactly. Who is somebody that like, okay, let me at least hear them out. Whether they do it or they don't, let them be a person that's at least willing to have a conversation about it, try and understand where you're coming from, and is willing to attempt things to see how they plan out.
That's good.
What would you say?
That's real good. I would say, to add to that point, and it's kind of one of my points, stop looking for a way out and start looking for a way through. Right?
Yeah.
So find it, like you said, continuing to find a solution.
Yep.
Because if I'm looking for a way out, I'm looking for shortcuts. I'm looking
Exactly.
for somebody to get me out of it. I'm looking for somebody to always spot me.
Yep.
Right? But as a man, there's not going to always be way outs.
Yep.
Right? And if you've grown up, if you grew up and everybody always gave you a way out, everybody always gave you a shortcut, or you took the shortcuts, when life gets hard and life actually hits you, you're not going to know how to look for the solutions
At all.
You're not going to know how to lead. You're going to be looking to your partner to lead. You're going to be looking to your kid to lead. You're going to be looking for somebody else to make decisions that you as a man are supposed to make for yourself and for your family. So stop looking for the way out. E.T. said, never let a good crisis go to waste. Right? You're going through something for a reason. So if you learn how to work through it, then you can learn how to get through it again. And then you can learn how to teach other people how to do it. And then you can give your wife a little bit of safety and security to know that you're going to make it through whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So just imagine, like, you have all these families that experienced the hurricanes, right? Lost their houses.
Yep.
The wife that has the kids, she's looking to her husband. What are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
And as a man, you may not know.
Yeah.
But because of life, because you know you're going to hit adversity, because you know things aren't going to always go as you want to go, you make some phone calls. You put them boots on. You go to work. You figure it out because that's what your family is going to need.
Exactly.
So that's really good. I like how you said that.
You don't got to know the answer, but you got to be willing to do something about it.
You got to be willing to go find it.
Got to be willing to find it. And man, what you're speaking to is a man must be battle tested if he's gonna lead.
Got to be battle tested.
Because if you haven't been through any fire, when stuff gets real and situations get hot,
yeah,
you are going to crumble and burn. And nobody, a woman can't trust in that.
Right.
She can't be with you because she sees the way you respond in circumstances. Prime example. There's been on at least 2 separate occasions in my relationship where somebody has done some sketchy stuff in front of me and my girl, right? Potentially dangerous situations. Right. And what I've learned is a lot of times when women are with men that they trust, they are not thinking. They are not situationally aware at all. Oh. Right? And they'll make certain decisions and you have to reel them back in. And they got to trust you in that moment. They might not even see what's going on. But we've had multiple circumstances where that has gone down and we have to have conversations about it. It's like, okay, well, why did you choose to make that decision? Oh, I was just thinking this way or that. It wasn't that big of a deal. I'm already thinking 5-10 steps ahead about how these courses of actions are going to lead us down. I'm thinking about how I can get us out of this. Can I get us out of this situation? Does there need to be a confrontation here or do we need to leave? And I'm thinking all these things through and she might not be seeing them. But because I've been battle tested and I've been in these situations before, and because now she's seen me operate in those situations, she doesn't have to be concerned about them and she can trust my leadership to say, hey, we might not know how this is going to play out, but I'm going to trust that what Myles is saying we need to do in this situation is going to work out in our favor at the end.
That's good. That's good, bro.
All right, so let's go on to point number 3. I think you kind of already hit it. Don't let a good crisis go to waste.
Right. No. You know, I was going to use that to segue into my next one because I added another one, right?
Okay,
I just put this on my heart. In order to be a leader, you have to understand that not everybody deserves access to you. Right? Because the more people have access to you, you don't really know who's there to pour into you or who's there to drain you.
Yeah.
There's people that want you to lead, they want you to succeed, and then there's also people that don't want you to go further than where they are.
Yeah.
Right? There's people that want you to be just good enough to remain so they can feel comfortable around you. But the minute you start popping, the minute you start leading too much, the minute your voice starts projecting too much, the minute you start learning too much, the minute you start making too much money, right? They may do something to jeopardize all that. They may do something to get in the way of all that, right? People get jealous of people that step into that leadership role. So you got to realize that. And then also when it comes to, if you're a leader, when it comes to a man, you can't deal with the wrong women.
Yeah.
Right? Last episode, we talked about polyamorous, right?
Yep.
Dealing with multiple women. As a leader, that is probably one of your biggest downfalls, right? Being able to stay focused is hard when you have all these women in your ear.
Yeah.
Women in your face, women trying to get your attention, right? That's a big thing that messes up a lot of leaders.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of men have these cheating scandals.
Yep.
A lot of men have all type of women in their phone. Their wives go get curious. They start looking at passwords.
Yep.
And then they notice, man, this is my man leading, but he leading a whole bunch of everybody else. Right? So realizing that not everybody deserves access to you because not everybody has what it takes to pour into you. Some people are going to drain you. Some people are going to try to pull you down with them. So you need to have that discernment and realize, who do I need to be around to continue to become the person that I need to be?
That's real. I mean, a lot of people are takers. Like there are takers in life and there are givers.
100%.
Okay? And when you're a leader, everybody wants a piece of that. You stand out from the crowd. And if you're not careful, if you don't have, I like to call it the gatekeeper, like the secretary.
Yeah.
So everybody, you realize that at a certain point, everybody got a gatekeeper, the real leaders. When I was working for my last company, once you get to AVP level, you have, well, actually, I think it's, no, AVP, VP level, whatever. Once you get to like an executive level, you have an administrative assistant that works for you. They schedule your meetings. They respond to some of your emails. They take care of a lot of stuff for you. But what they also are is they're a gatekeeper. Yeah. Everybody doesn't get to just walk up in this office just because they want to talk to me. They got to go through you first. When you go to principals in schools, they all have their secretary,
Yep.
their personal administrative person,
Yep.
and they're filtering out everything to say, is this worth their time?
Yep.
You got to have that same type of situation for yourself.
100%.
Your discernment has to be your gatekeeper.
Yep.
To be able to sit there and say, this is a place or a space that I do need to go to or don't need to go to.
Yep.
Because it's either going to distract me or it's going to push me. And it's really important, if you're a man and you're leading, to make sure, and you're trying to figure out how to lead, have some discernment. Have the ability to decide who gets access and who doesn't.
Yep. And learn it fast.
Yeah.
Learn it fast, because the longer you have the people that are around you that are not supposed to be around you, that can't pour into you, the further you'll be from your goal.
Yeah. That's
Right?
real.
So that's good. What you got, man?
All right. So my last point, sit in the front of the classroom.
Tell me more about that.
So I'm going to use the old concept. We've all been through school, so we know. When you too cool for school, everybody wants to sit in the back.
Yep.
Right? Kick it with their friends, joke, whatever. Act like they're too cool for school. They're not really interested. Sitting in the front of the classroom means doing the thing that needs to be done, even though everybody else wants to do the opposite.
That's good.
Right? A lot of people are afraid to stand out from the crowd. You don't want to be the nerd. You don't want to come off as being serious about your book skills or wearing the suits because that's corny where you come from. But the reality is, deep down that that's what's going to get you where you need to go.
100%.
Deep down that doing the right thing, staying on your fitness journey, not going out and partying, not cheating on your girl, that these things are going to take you further in life.
Yep.
But you're too afraid to do them because it's cooler and it's more comfortable to do what everybody else is doing, to be with the crowd. But when you're that kid that sits in the front of the classroom and says, I'm here for a reason.
Yep.
And I'm not afraid to be open and honest about why I'm here.
Right.
It changes everything in your life. And you start to see that I'm a leader just because I'm doing what other people are not willing to do.
So the question I have for you is, for the men that are out there listening that are wanting to sit in the front or trying to sit in the front, how do they stay consistent and committed to being in the front when everybody's trying to pull them to the back?
So one, we already talked about one of them, which is your discernment.
Right.
First off, if people are constantly trying to pull you to the back, why are they still in your life?
Right.
If they still want you to sit in the back of the classroom, it's time to cut them off.
Right.
They're not trying to help you succeed. They're not trying to see you be a leader, be successful, for you to get that A in that class.
Okay.
Right? So that's first. The second thing is, you got to remember the bigger mission. Every day you got to wake up. Why am I here?
Yeah.
What is the purpose for today? When I walk into that classroom, I'm here to make sure I am present and in the right position so I can get this A. I need to pass this test. I know I want to apply for that internship and they're going to look at this GPA.
Yeah.
I know exactly. I know that I need this experience. I know that I need to practice in these particular areas. It's not going to be pretty at first. You're going to feel dumb.
Yep.
You're not going to understand everything. You're going to raise your hand and ask some questions that maybe everybody else knows the answer to, but you don't.
Yeah.
But it's those things that will set you apart. And I'll tell you something. Women love it.
100%.
Women love it, especially women that have a future on them, that actually have some sense. They love the man who isn't afraid to be himself, to do the things that everybody else is scared of. Because those cats that hang in the crowd, that gets tired out real quick.
Yeah.
Because women recognize real quick, he's not going anywhere.
No, he can't leave me anywhere.
And when they get to that point, that dude in high school that was shining and was the star, he no longer is worth a damn. It doesn't matter what he looked like back then. Doesn't matter how many touchdowns he scored.
Yeah.
That nerd ends up being the one who gets the beautiful women, who gets the successful partner, who gets the high paying job. Because he knew his purpose when he woke up that morning. He knew his mission. He was focused.
Yeah.
How do you consider yourself a leader and you can't just sit in the front of the classroom and raise your hand?
That's good. So what you're saying is, if you want to become a leader, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
You need to get comfortable with making the hard decisions. You need to get uncomfortable with raising your hand and being on the spotlight. You need to be uncomfortable with doing the things that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah.
You need to be comfortable with reading the books that nobody wants to read.
Exactly.
You need to be comfortable with serving the people that nobody wants to serve. Meaning, if you're in high school, if you're in college, and somebody's on campus and somebody dropped their books, help them pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an opportunity, hold the door open for somebody to do it. If you have an opportunity to help the teacher out in whatever capacity, or to go help your granny out. And one thing I used to do as a kid, I come from a big family, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of 7 kids, right?
Yeah.
And my great granny lived right down the street, and she used to
Yeah.
always call to help, wanted somebody to help her in the garden, to help somebody around the house, or help somebody with some plants. And then my other granny used to call, wanting to have somebody take her around to stores because she had got sick. And I remember nobody wanted to answer that call.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go help out, and I used to say, "I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it." Don't matter how long my day was. Don't matter if I didn't get any sleep. Don't matter if I just left football practice or had a game. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to serve. I'm going to do the things that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah.
And it helped me be more patient. Helped me become more of a servant now. So I got comfortable with doing things that I was uncomfortable doing, and that put me in a position to be a leader now.
Brother, that's going to be the word of the episode, the phrase of the episode. I'll do it. You want to be a leader? You probably should say that more times than almost anything else in a day.
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
You better get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I know for people listening right now, that is triggering to you.
Yeah.
Because you know the things that you know you need to do.
Yeah.
Or the things that maybe you don't even have to do.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity, man.
I'll do it.
You have prayed to God to make you more successful. You've prayed to God to enlighten your life. God doesn't just bless you with those things all the time. Sometimes He's going to present them to you in the face of the things that you know you're uncomfortable doing.
Yeah.
And He wants to see, how serious are you? Are you prepared for this blessing that I have waiting on you?
Yeah.
And when you take on that mindset of I'll do it, you're showing to God, you're showing to yourself, you're showing to your girlfriend, you're showing to everybody in the world that I am a man who can lead. I am a man who can do what needs to be done.
Man, that's amazing. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example of I'll do it. 2 episodes ago, maybe I prayed on the episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
But God put that on my heart a few days before that episode.
Mm.
There was a situation happened. I was with one of my guys. I'm kind of walking him through some stuff in prayer, and God told me in that moment, you need to pray on the next episode. I'm like, all right, I'm thinking to myself, not many people pray on episodes. I ain't really seen that before. Like, we talk about scripture, but we ain't never prayed. But I said, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right. And we get here, and then we had a conversation. Let's talk later. One of your guys was going through some things, and I was like, I'm gonna pray for that man. And God gave me the words. Right. So that's a message in itself. When you say I'll do it,
come on,
you're showing God that you're being obedient. But when you say I'll do it, you may not have the answers, but He'll give you the solution.
He will.
He'll give you the solution. You may not have the words, but He'll give you every single word you need.
That's real.
Right. You may not have the money, but He will make sure you have all the finances that you have. Right. And another perfect example is I remember, being a college student, a broke college student at that, it can take you through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was hungry. I needed some groceries, and I scraped up like $15 around the house. Yeah. Went to the grocery store, picked up, some bread, some meat, some hot dogs for the first time. Like, nobody make hot dogs anymore. Some hot dogs, some rice. And I remember leaving out the store. Like, okay, cool. This should get me straight for at least 3 or 4 days. And there was a lady sitting at the corner with her 2 daughters in a sign. And God put it in my heart, give them half. And it hurt, bro.
Yeah.
When I say, like, I scraped this up just to make it happen.
Yeah.
But God said, give him half. So I gave him half, and I just sat in that moment. I was like, well, if God told me to do it, he'll make sure I get it back. I don't know when I'm gonna get it back. I don't know how I'm gonna get it back, but He'll make sure I get it back. And just a few days after that, I was blessed with an opportunity to make some money that, filled up the whole kitchen with groceries. So, like Myles said, if you want to become a leader, start having a servant mentality. Start saying, I'll do it to every opportunity, even when you don't feel like it. Yeah. Because that I'll do it now is going to turn into when your kid is sick, right? And your wife has been working all day, and she's asking, can you get up and take care of the kids? It's fine, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you need to stay later at work to make some extra money, it's fine, I'll do it. When your mom needs something because she may be struggling, she may be going through something, and you got some extra finances, or you can help her out in some type of way, you can say, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or from when your guys call you and say, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, it's fine, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Right? People look at those type of things.
Yep.
And you don't have to call yourself a leader, because people are going to look at you as a leader and respect you as a leader.
And they would treat you as a leader.
100%.
That's real. All right. Well, those are our main topics for today.
Yes, sir.
That was powerful. I really think we gave some tangible things for people to apply to their life. Fellas, really replay this. Those 6 points that we gave you guys, I don't think you need anything else. You do those 6, everything else you need to figure out along the way will come.
Yep.
So really just evaluate it. You might already be good in some of those areas. You might be weak in some other ones. There's areas of growth for everyone. Don't be ashamed to say, I'll do it.
Right.
Now, we're going to transition now into our Let's Talk letter.
Yep.
So what do we have for today, Rex, on our Let's Talk letter? What do we want to talk about?
All right. So, we made a post the other day that said, hey, do you guys have any questions that you want answered on the podcast?
Yes.
And one of the questions that came up said, I want to know, why do men turn to alcohol to deal with their problems? What you think about that, Myles?
Well, because it's not just alcohol. It's the need for vices.
Yeah.
It's the need to escape.
Yeah.
And that is something that men really do struggle with. Women struggle with it too, but men more than anybody else struggle with dealing with their problems because we don't know how to express our thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
And think about what happens when you drink alcohol. You think that you're becoming unemotional and you don't feel anything.
Yep.
But you actually become more emotional.
Right.
We have our most intimate conversations with people when we're drunk. We say the most truthful things about what we're thinking and feeling when we're drunk. We act our most genuine and rooted way when we are drunk.
Yep.
All the sides that are within us that we never let out come out when we're drunk.
Yep.
It's a form of escapism because we crave the need to release.
Right.
In one form or another, but we just don't want to do it in front of people. We don't want to do it in front of the right people.
Right.
And so we put ourselves in states because we're either afraid, we're uncertain, we're uncomfortable with healthier mechanisms of expressing ourselves. We have to put ourselves in a state that allows us to think and feel. It doesn't matter if it's marijuana. Same thing happens then. Why do we think people ponder such deep thoughts when they're high? Why is it that after you masturbate, you get thoughts in your head of regret?
Yeah.
All of the vices that we jump into, when you become gluttonous and you're eating to solve your problems, as soon as you finish that meal, you feel and think the effects of it and say, that was not a good idea.
Yeah. Every time.
It always seems good ahead of time because our body is telling us, hey, you need to express something, you need to feel something. But since we don't have the proper mindset and strategies to address them, we go down vices and use them as a way to escape and to embrace those feelings and thoughts.
Man, that's good. That's good. I'm going to add to that, right? So why do men turn to alcohol? Why do people turn to alcohol? For a couple different reasons, right? One, to run away from the problems.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to deal with this right now, so I'm going to do this because it's going to make me feel a type of way. Right? Number two, it's going to help me numb the problem.
Yeah.
Right? If I drink enough, if I get to the bottom of that bottle, I won't feel this no more. Right? I may feel depressed, I may feel anxious, I may feel heartbroken, I may feel whatever, but at the end of that bottom, at the bottom of that bottle, I won't feel anything at all. Right? And then I think one of the biggest ones, because I resonate with this big time, is drinking helps you become the person you don't have the confidence to be when you're sober.
Exactly, bro.
Right.
Exactly.
You don't have the confidence being when you're sober. If you ever paid attention to somebody that was kind of closed off and reserved and very introverted, but the minute they get alcohol in their system, they become the most outgoing personality person, right? They become the freakiest person.
Yep.
Right? They start doing things that they wouldn't do. They say things that they wouldn't normally say. They become a person that you've never seen before, but that's really the person that they already have in them that's suppressed, but they just don't have the confidence to bring it out.
Exactly.
Without that alcohol. And that could truly get the best of you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I had a coaching client, right? He told me, Rex, I've been drinking for so long, I don't know what it feels like to be sober. I don't know who I am sober. I know who I am drunk. I know who I am intoxicated. And he was like, and it's not that I get drunk every single day, but I have to taste alcohol every single day. And when I taste it, I'm more outgoing. I have a little bit more confidence. But when I asked him, so who is the sober you? He said, I
I
can't
don't
answer
even
that
know.
question. Right.
Wow.
I haven't been sober in so long that I don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
So that's why men drink, to deal with stress.
Man, I think of 50 Cent. I'm reading his book right now. Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. He brought up the fact that he doesn't drink or smoke. Um, and he talks about how a lot of artists,
Right.
when they're in the booth, they feel like they need a drink or they need to smoke something in
Right.
order for them to be creative, in
Yeah.
order for them to get in the zone. And he asked the question. He says, "How much of a strength is this of you to be doing these things,
Yeah.
right? How much of a strength is it if before you can do what you're supposed to do, you got to be drunk or high? So if the opportunity of a lifetime came in front of you and you're sober right now, and
Yeah.
they said, 'Let me hear what you got.
Yeah.
Spit some music for me or sing for me.' And you say, 'Oh, hold on. Let me go to the car real quick. I need to get a little drink real quick, get in my system. I need to smoke this blunt real quick.'
Yeah.
That's not a strength.
Right.
That's a weakness.
Well,
And a lot of people have found, like you said, so much comfort in the bottom of a bottle
yeah.
or at the end of a blunt because they believe it makes them a better person and brings the best out of them.
Yeah.
But really, what it's doing is it's handicapping you. It's a crutch.
Yeah.
Because while it may give you the confidence in that moment to do all the things that you want to do, what happens when your kid needs you to be courageous?
Yeah.
What happens when your wife needs you to address a problem?
Yeah.
What happens when real situations happen in life and you got to go get that bottle or that blunt to address it?
Yeah.
Then what are you showing?
Yeah.
How much of a leader are you? It's not helping you, it's holding you back.
100%.
And you need to be in a state of, I don't want to say control, but understanding of what your vices are as a man, because every man has a vice.
Yep.
I don't care what it is. Every man has a vice. Okay. And you need to form a healthy relationship with them where if you're ever going to use a vice, it's only in certain moments, in certain protective situations.
Yep.
Because you get too comfortable with it, it'll ruin your whole life.
100%. And I'll say one last thing before we wrap things up. When it comes to drinking, I was having this conversation with my lady the other day. There's something in that bottle, right? Especially when you get to a certain point of that bottle where it unlocks the effort in you.
I was thinking the same thing, man.
Right. So if you are in a healthy relationship or you're single and you're trying to become a leader, trying to become a better person, try not to use that as your vice, because when you hit that effort point, you'll do something that's going to jeopardize everything. You'll cheat on your woman, right? You'll make a bad business deal, right? You'll say something you're not supposed to say. You'll get into a fight you're not supposed to get into a fight, and you'll try to fight a cop.
Hey, man.
Thinking you a Superman.
Yep.
Right? So, understand that, alcohol was made to enjoy yourself, to have fun, but not to overindulge.
Exactly.
Right? Not to overdo it. Not
There's
to
a
do
balance.
or say things that is going to make you do things that you're not supposed to do. So just be cognizant of that when it comes to having a bottle and being in a relationship and being around the wrong people.
Yeah.
Because once you hit that effort point,
It's over with.
it's over with. It's you to the point no return.
That's real, man. Well, look, guys, watch that effort.
I'm telling you.
Know your effort line,
I'm
because
telling you.
and you know it. You feel it like
Yeah.
this next shot.
It's over with.
Yeah.
Hey, you know it because they're gonna say it's demon time.
It's demon time. I done got activated.
You feel
When
me?
you start talking about your alter ego and all, yeah.
It's up.
So, guys, thank you so much, first off, for submitting your questions for the Let's Talk letter. If you have anything you want to add to it, we will always ask after each episode. We're going to always put that up. Drop your questions in on Instagram. Man, great episode.
Absolutely.
How to lead.
Yeah.
How do you become a man that leads? 6 real steps, man. We want to leave y'all with this. I'll do it.
I'll do it.
That's what I want you guys to continue to carry with you more than anything else we said. I'll do it. That will take you further. So as we wrap up, Rex, shout out sponsors, anything you want to talk about real quick?
Yeah, so main thing, of course, shout out to to It Studios. If you have a podcast, think about having a podcast or just need a space, they have everything you need here. So come check them out. Number two, I have my 29-day self-discovery journal that's going to be released. By the time this episode launches on Friday, the journal will be
Awesome.
uploaded. So I'll have the links in our bios connected to that. But other than that, may y'all stay blessed. If you need a therapist, right? Whether you're dealing with trauma, depression, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, relationship issues, just conflict, go to resolvecc.com and book a session with me, and I'll take care of you.
Awesome, man. All right, for me, milesthemillennial.com. You can book me for your speaking engagements. I'm speaking at schools, I'm doing commencements, organizations, young adults. I'm here to influence your audience and make sure that your message and my message align to change their minds and change their lives. Speaking of change your mind, change your life, my best selling book, I have revamped the cover, put some new snippets in it. So make sure if you're looking for a copy of it, you can find it on TikTok Shop. That's where I really want you guys to go support me at. That way we can get that engagement rolling. So make sure you guys find me there. And then NU King merch, where it's at, man. The best hats in the world. They always make me feel good. I got a new one in the mail on the way, so you might see it in the episode coming up. You can find them on Instagram at NU King merch. Other than that, that's all I have, Rex.
Yes, sir. Well, without, see them next week then.
All right, man. Appreciate you guys.
Y'all be
Peace.
safe.
I'll do it.